All right, what's going on, everyone? Today we have the official review video of the C8 Corvette, the poor man's supercar, what some people call it. Other people, this is their car they take to golf every weekend. But this is honestly one of my favorite cars, not gonna lie. Hers is definitely my favorite of all time, but this is one of my favorites that I've bought over the years and stuff like that. I acquired it back in, 2023. Literally, I bought my house in November or October, and then I bought this 2 months later in December and stuff. But one of my favorite cars, and we're gonna go over today pretty much everything, what I love about it, what I hate about it, all the pros and the cons, and whether or not you should actually purchase one of these. I'm just kind of starting off with the initial just buying process and everything.
Okay.
It's actually funny when I bought this car because I bought it just randomly one day. I was actually in the market for McLaren 570S. So the little baby McLaren. I was in the market of buying one of those, and that one was roughly about 150K. And I was gonna finance it, and I couldn't get approved for financing because my highest loan at the time was 50K. And what I learned basically is that you can't go more than 2x your previous loan when you're financing vehicles. So I bought this car purely just to be an intermediate car because it was right around 100K at the time I bought it. Now it makes me sick for how much money I've lost on this thing already, which we'll talk about that in a little bit too as well. But yeah, so there was just a random spur of the moment purchase one day. I got it denied for the McLaren 570S. Ended up just randomly one day while I was in the gym parking lot, hey, I should just go buy a C8 Corvette. Literally opened up my phone, just searched C8 Corvettes on the car gurus and stuff like that. The very first black one I found with peanut butter interior, which is this one, I was like, that one looks sick. Gave the place a call. They're out in, I think, Austin, Texas is where they were based out of. And I was just like, hey, you have the black C8 Corvette, the peanut butter guts? All right, cool, I want to buy it. They sent me over the paperwork. I didn't negotiate price or anything like that because I intentionally wanted my financing to be high because I knew if my financing was going to be high, it was going to allow me to purchase some funner vehicles down the line. That's why we have Thurs now. So literally just straight up and was just like, hey, I want to buy this. They told me the numbers and everything, and I was just like, all right, cool, let's go with it. Wired in the money, and then I think about 3 or 4 days later, that's when it came in. And that's pretty much how we bought the thing. Now, as far as numbers and stuff, the numbers were not sexy at all. At this time, the C8 Corvettes, this was back in December 2023, a lot of them were floating around about 95, 98. And I think after tax, title, license, and all of that stuff, we it was right at 100 flat that we purchased this car. I'm gonna keep in mind, that's the LT3 model. It has the performance package on it, the Z package, so it's the LT3 with the Z package and everything. And then lastly, on top of all that, just pretty much all that has the upgraded wheels, the LT3 package, all of that fun stuff. So, but right about 100, I think I put down about 15K, so I financed 85. I think I paid roughly about $1,700 a month on this. And my insurance is actually only $180 a month, which actually blows my mind because at the time, I also had a Mustang GT of 2019, and I was paying about $250 a month for that for insurance. But as far as for this particular car, it's insane how crazy low insurance is for this car. But yeah, so that was pretty much going over like a whole purchasing time right there. This is my first car. Like I said, I had a Mustang GT at the time. This was my first, I don't really want to call it a supercar because it's not a supercar at all. But it gives you a lot of the, what I would say, features and performance specs of a supercar, something relative within that price range right there. If you compare it to a Huracan, for example, or if you compare it to a McLaren 570S, I don't really want to compare it to a 720S, but around that, it gives you a lot of the same features of it. You got a rear-mounted engine, you got the paddle shifters and stuff, and actual paddle shifters that actually work. Not the little cheap shit you get in your regular car that's like delay every time you pull the paddles. It's very fast transmission and everything. And then not to mention also too, it sounds really good. So before we're getting into more of what I would say, everything I love about this car and going deeper into it, we're gonna get a little workout in real quick. Today we got some deadlifts in, so worked a little bit of back today. So we'll jump into that and then we'll get back to more of the overall of the car.
Don't touch me. Don't test. Don't test. Don't test. Don't test.
Just finishing up at Metcon, getting a good little workout in for the day. Just kind of getting back to the review and everything. Solid workout and stuff. So, car itself, we talked about the pricing side, talked about the financing side, and everything like that. But obviously, that's not why you guys are here. This is where y'all want to learn a little bit more about the car itself and everything. Starting off just literally with the interior itself. We'll start off with the interior, then we'll kind of go around the whole car, all the other cool functions and fun stuff of it. Starting off with the interior first, I've already mentioned about the peanut butter guts. That's probably my favorite thing about this car. A lot of the interiors on the C8s I did not like at all. They have the one of them that's all red on the inside, or you get all tan peanut butter, or you get all black. And I didn't like any of those. And I really like this one because it's a balance of 50-50, the tan accents and everything like that. But you still have the black in it. So it's a good 50-50. So the contrast really pops on this car. And then the seats are brown too, or that particular color right there. So the tan seats on the black paint, it pops really well, especially too when we take this thing out and we take the roof off, because it has the roof you can just take off. It's not a convertible. I forgot what it's called. T-tops is what they call it. So they have T-tops in this car, and it takes, I don't know, 2 minutes to take the roof off, which is really cool. I definitely want to get a convertible for my next car though, because I love just riding down with the convertible top and stuff. I actually do enjoy it a lot. But anyway, going back to the interior, I love the color on the inside. I think it looks phenomenal. I really wouldn't change a thing about the interior. My only other thing I would love to do is get a red one. If they had like the tan felt or like the tan kind of cloth, they have like a Ferrari 458 Italia, for example. That'd be the only thing that I'd be like, let me do that on this car. I think that would look pretty sick. But for the most part, I really love the interior on this. One of the things that Corvette specifically, at least the C8s get, is that it's a driver's car. So what they mean by that is literally everything you need is right here. Your infotainment and stuff is all facing you. You almost have this little cockpit right here to where, like, if you're a passenger, for example, in this car, you almost feel walled off in a way. I rode passenger once, twice in this car, and I can definitely agree that everything is for the driver. So it's not really much to where the passenger can really see much, to be fair. The infotainment and all that, everything's kind of in your way. You have a really nice HUD here, displaying everything you need, and then you can also change it when you change the track modes and stuff like that. So right now we have it in our Z mode, which is just like a customized mode. But when you change it into different modes and stuff like that, if we go to track mode, for example, it'll change the HUD and display different information relative to what you'd be doing in that particular mode right there, which is pretty cool. I like that. So infotainment, or the HUD, is really cool. As far as like the infotainment itself, I also really like it as the Apple CarPlay and everything. And probably one of like I don't know, I feel like every car has Apple CarPlay now, but they're all slightly different. I feel like this particular one is very easy to go through the Spotify and your maps and everything. Very easy to flip through, no issues at all. I also really like the fact that it is facing you, to where when you do have maps and stuff, it's very easy just to look down and it's already facing you. Whereas other infotainment sometimes can be a little far out and a little bit more into the middle, which can be a little bit more difficult to see in that sense right there. So I think that's also one of my favorite things about this car, or at least on the interior side. You also get heated seats, cooled seats. You don't get massaging seats in this particular car like they have in the Urus, for example, which was a nice surprise when we bought the Urus. But overall, I love the interior. I think I'm also the perfect size for this particular car. If I was any taller, I only have 2, 3, maybe 4 inches here between me and the roof. So if I was any taller, I would have a problem. So someone who's 5'9", I think if you were 6 foot plus, you would definitely be having a problem in this car itself. It would not be comfortable. And that's also the other part. If you're a heavier guy, heavier set, you also wouldn't enjoy this car, because these seats hug you really tight. I can't move in these seats at all when you sit in them. I couldn't imagine being any bigger sitting in this car. I feel like I would have a problem. So if you were a bigger guy, say 6 foot plus, a little on the heavier side, you wouldn't be comfortable in this car at all. And that's also the other part with, you do have to get used to the fact that it is very low to the ground. I think that's probably the one thing that I don't like about this car. I love the fact that it's low to the ground, but I also hate sometimes it's low to the ground, and that's why I would take the Urus, because getting in and out of this car sometimes can be just a little bit of a challenge. Especially too if you have a car parked too close to you, because the doors are wide, so when you open it, you really have to open it to be able to get out. So that can be sometimes a little tedious right there. Not necessarily like a hate that thing, but it's just like it's tedious. It comes with owning a sports car. Just about any sports car has that particular issue right there. So, but interior, absolutely love the interior. Love everything about the interior. You also, like I said, I've talked about this earlier, you get the paddle shifters, and what's cool about this is actually a dual clutch transmission, which is the same thing like a supercar, like a Huracan, Aventador, stuff like that. So you can easily just pull them both back like this. It's in neutral, so you can rev it up and stuff like that. And then it immediately goes back into drive, so it doesn't shift it to neutral, it just temporarily holds it into neutral, which is really fun. And then as far as the actual transmission itself, when you put it in manual and start shifting gears and stuff like that with these paddle shifters, it is so fast. There is zero delay between shifting or pulling the paddle shifter and it actually shifting. Whereas a regular transmission, if you decide to do the paddle shifter, so like your Ford Focus, for example, it's like a 2 to 3 second delay. I remember my Mustang, specifically in the Mustang GT, I had the 10-speed automatic transmission in it, and there was always a delay in between pulling the paddle shifter and it actually shifting itself. So it's nice to be able to have that dual clutch transmission, have that fun right there. That's probably one of my favorite things about this car. Throw it into the manual, have some fun, rip it through some roads, and then you're able to just hit and go back to drive. I don't want to talk shit on manuals, but I've never personally owned a manual yet. I don't really have any foreseeable future when I decide to buy a manual or anything like that. So as far as now, I'm having fun with the paddle shifters until I'm older and want to have a more classic car in that sense. So interior is perfect and everything. I love it. Like I said, the only complaint is getting in and out of the thing. It's a little smaller of a car, so if you're a little bigger, you may have some issues right there. But next thing we'll do is actually dive into the outside now. So as far as the outside of this car, the things to go over, obviously we have the wheels, the tires, the body itself of the car, the color, and then also the engine itself. Just kind of starting off with the engine and everything. This particular car right here has V8, obviously, but I don't have the amount of horsepower. I think it's like 450 horsepower, maybe 460 horsepower. To be fair, as far as power and performance of this car, even for the LT3, not even the Z06 model, for example, that has a slightly more power with the flat crank V8 and stuff. This particular car, still, it's fast as fuck, to be fair. I think at 0 to 60 is 2.8 seconds in it, which probably about 80-90% of things on the road, you're going to beat, and that's it right there. You won't have to really worry about not having enough power there. So it was a very fun prize for that, because I actually never test drove one of these or anything like that before buying it. But you get plenty of power with it. It's a rear-mounted V8. I did end up putting an exhaust in this car. I think the stock exhaust was good. It was fun and pleasant for the month I had it on, but I definitely wanted to more open up that engine, especially too knowing that it was a V8 and everything. I knew we can get some good crispy sounding exhaust from there. So I did actually have some exhaust put on. I forgot what it was. I think it was the Borla exhaust. I think it was like the Extreme Tax or something like that we put on there. It was good. It sounded a lot better. I think it kind of perfected the exhaust on this particular car. It enhanced what already sounded good and just made it louder. That was it. But there's no real drone. There's no real, I can go drive this for 2 or 3 hours and not be distracted or annoyed by the exhaust on it. And I can have some fun with it right there too. I can, once you get into the lower RPMs and start revving it and stuff, it does wake up and sound a lot louder right there. So you can definitely have some fun with the exhaust. It sounds really good, especially when you get it fixed up like that. As far as other things for performance, like I said, 0 to 60, 2.8 seconds, I believe. That's what Chevy has on their website and everything. I would imagine it's about that too. Going over to wheels and tires and everything, you get some massive, I want to say they're even 315s or 325s on the rear, which are huge. They're extremely wide. I remember when I first bought this car, I still had my Mustang GT at the time, and I think it was 275s or 285s on the back end. And it felt like these tires were literally double the size of the tires on the Mustang GT, which was pretty cool. And that also goes back to when you think about the 0 to 60 at 2.8 seconds, for example. You got a rear-mounted engine, so it sits flat on those tires, and it's a rear-wheel drive car. So between all that, massive wide tire, big engine, all in the rear right there, this thing just hugs the ground, squats, and takes off when you launch this car, which is also really fun. As far as burnouts, though, I have never really been able to get this thing to slip and slide a little bit. It hugs the ground, and the traction's phenomenal on this thing. As far from there, going more into the actual exterior of the car, I got the black one. I think I have black rims and tires with black calipers as well, so it's very sleek looking, and like I said, it pops with that peanut butter interior that we have here. I love the exterior of the car. I do believe that it can look like a Ferrari at times, and I think that was somewhat of Chevy's intention to increase the perceived value of this particular car right there. I've never really had anyone hate on it, at least around where I live, but obviously a lot of people online do hate these cars because they said it's the poor man's supercar in that way. But phenomenal. I love the exterior. Honestly, get more people compliments in the car than the Urus. That's mostly just because a lot of people don't even really know what the Urus is when they see it. Whereas this particular car right here, it screams sportier car. Some people call it a supercar and stuff like that. It's not a supercar though. But there's plenty of people that still believe it's a supercar in that sense right there. So I obviously love the outside. As far as just overall thoughts on this car, going more into, hey, would I buy another? What would I do next with this thing? I'm extremely happy with the car as is, to be fair. I really wouldn't do much to it. I really love the overall look on the outside. I think probably the only thing that I would do is get a little louder exhaust on it. But the thing with this particular car, I've even seen people straight pipe the C8s, specifically the lower model, the LT3 model and stuff. And it just doesn't sound nearly as good as the Z06. So if anything, I don't really want to do much technically to this car, and I want to just really honestly just upgrade to the Z06 and stuff like that. But I've been on the fence whether I go Z06 or Huracan, just because I drove the Huracan, and after test driving the Huracan and driving this car, I bought this car and then I test drove a Huracan maybe like a month later. I much prefer this car over the Huracan. It just doesn't have the brand recognition of Lamborghini, and also too, it doesn't have the V10 with the loud exhaust and everything on it. That's the only thing you're technically missing from this particular car compared to the Huracan. But I actually much prefer the interior of this car over the Huracan. I much prefer the way this car drives over the Huracan in terms of maneuverability, going around town and all that good stuff, blind spot monitors, all of that. This is a lot more, what I would say, better of a car to drive than the Huracan. Like I say, you're just missing the brand recognition of Lamborghini, and you're missing the V10. That's about it, which, to be fair, is still a very valid reason why I would get a Huracan over this particular car. But for the price, the value, you just cannot beat what a C8 can do. And at the time I told y'all, I bought this car for about $100 after tax, title, license, all the fees and everything like that. I think right now the perceived or the technical value of this particular car right now runs about $65-70. And I think I owe about $60 left on this car. So I'm barely breaking even on this car. Once the Z06 really started flooding the market, and the E-Rays and all of those started flooding the market, value on this car just plummeted. So I really wouldn't say I lost money. I really wouldn't say I made money. I'm literally right at break even right now if I'd probably go trade it in on this particular car. After almost 4 years of ownership now, which is crazy. We'll be making 3 years this year, 4 years next year. We only put 8,300 miles on this car. I bought it with 500 miles, and now it has 8,800 miles. So I already did the transmission filter oil change, which if you don't know, at 7,500 miles on this particular car, you got to take it into the transmission filter oil change. And that's roughly about a $1,200 service right there. And that's not covered on the warranty or anything like that. So just be cautious on that. Every 7,500 miles, you got to do that. I think oil change itself, I think I paid Chevy like $120 for the oil change though. That you got to do once a year. Other than that, service and issues with this car have been very minimal. Oh, actually, I did forget about that part. Around, I don't know, maybe 1,000 miles after, I think it was right around 1,500 miles, 2,000 miles owning this car. The AC actually went out, and it was pretty crazy because what had happened is the motor froze on the AC, and the belt for the AC just kept on going. So the whole car filled up with smoke, and the engine bay filled up with smoke and everything. We literally thought the car was on fire, and for a second, because of that particular issue right there. So that was a crazy experience too, with that going on. But luckily, all that was covered on the warranty. And again, that happened about 2,000 miles, 2,500 miles of owning this car. Luckily, it was all covered on the warranty and stuff like that. I had no issues with getting all that fixed up, cleaned up. With Chevy, I think it was down for a week, and that was about it. And since then, put another 5,000 miles on the car with zero issues on that. So this is the official review of my C8 Corvette. I don't think I missed anything, but if there's any other questions you guys have about it, drop a comment below. Happy to go over, happy to reply back to you guys, help you guys out if you're considering one of these, or if you have any other questions about it. If you enjoyed these videos, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button for new videos every Thursday at 10 a.m. CST. Guys, thank you for watching. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Peace out.